He went to the clinic with a clutch of snake eggs in his belly. The doctor insisted that men do not get pregnant. It was likely a phantom pregnancy. His boyfriend should try fewer strange tricks. But the large black serpent knew no tricks at all. It just used both when it was urgent. Ethan's stomach had begun to swell. He felt a firm, round mass beneath his palm. The doctor admitted men could sometimes conceive. This was limited to those born with dual reproductive systems. A CT scan showed nothing inside Ethan's abdomen. He had simply gained some weight. The doctor asked if he had any more questions. Her tone suggested he should visit a psychiatrist. Ethan pulled his cap down and left the clinic. He could feel the staff's strange stares. A man visiting a women's health center was a first for them. They likely thought he was mentally unstable. One nurse whispered something about an influencer. He looked like that vlogger who vanished during the earthquake. Ethan was indeed a vlogger. A month ago, his friend Liam suggested an exploration video. Their destination was a remote village in the Appalachians. Liam was an experienced explorer and history buff. The area was steeped in ancient folklore. They were searching for a forgotten tomb over 1,000 years old. Liam promised the episode would be explosive. It would guarantee views. Ethan then realized they were entering a tomb. He questioned if it was legal. Liam scoffed at the idea of breaking the law. He claimed the tomb held no artifacts. Villagers often took tourists inside for a fee. It was perfectly safe. Hours later, their guide led them to the entrance. The limestone cave clung to a mountainside. Below the cliff, a turbulent river roared. The cavern was humid and grew colder within. The tomb was just as Liam described. It held only rubble and broken walls. Stalactites hung from the ceiling above. The faint sound of an underground stream echoed. A swarm of bats suddenly shrieked and flew out. Ethan jumped, slipping and falling to the ground. He glimpsed a serpentine pattern on a stone slab. He scrambled back to his feet. In the chilling air, his heart beat inexplicably faster. He asked Liam how much longer they would be filming. His left eye was twitching uncontrollably. Liam dismissed his fears as superstition. He explained the tomb's main attraction was its snake motifs. Carvings of serpents covered the chamber walls. There were hundreds of them. Ethan scanned them with his flashlight. The snakes varied in size and shape. Their dense coils were unsettling to look at. One carving caught his attention. It showed a snake and a humanoid figure. They were tangled in a strange embrace. He turned to ask Liam about it. The ground suddenly lurched beneath him. A deep rumbling sound filled the cave. Within a minute, the entire mountain began to shake. Stalactites rained down from the ceiling. Someone shouted that it was an earthquake. Ethan reacted quickly, covering his head and running for the exit. A falling rock smashed his flashlight, plunging him into darkness. He screamed Liam's name. Liam cursed and turned back for him. He yelled for Ethan to give him his hand. A sudden force then pulled at his waist. He was lifted into the air. Something carried him, slithering through the collapsing cave. His vision went black before he passed out. When he awoke, he was on a cool, smooth stone bed. Light streamed from an opening in the ceiling. A deep, raspy voice spoke. A man emerged from the shadows. No, he slid out. His upper body was human. His lower half was a massive black serpent's tail. Ethan stared with wide eyes. What kind of monster was this? A naga? The creature held 2 roasted rabbits. He offered one to Ethan. Ethan took the food and ate in silence. The man watched him for a few minutes. Then he asked if Ethan was afraid of him. Ethan replied that he was too handsome to be frightening. He truly felt no fear of snakes. He had never been afraid of them. Besides, he was attracted to men. This creature fit his aesthetic perfectly. He was tall, with defined abs and long dark hair. His pupils were a striking gold. They seemed to shimmer when he smiled. After eating, Ethan asked when he could leave. A dark glint flashed in the man's vertical pupils. He shook his head. Ethan's heart sank. He wondered if the snake demon planned to imprison him. He tried to remain calm. He asked what it would take to be set free. The creature explained he could leave after birthing a clutch of eggs. He could not depart until they were born. As he spoke, his serpentine tail coiled around Ethan's waist. Ethan froze for 3 seconds. Then he kicked the creature's tail. He cursed loudly at the snake freak. He was a man, he could not give birth. The creature was certain. He insisted that Ethan could. This uneducated monster was impossible to reason with. But his strength was immense. Ethan's struggles were like a gentle scratch. He yelled at the handsome pervert to get away. In the chaos, his hand grasped something hot and swollen. He wondered why it was so warm. Snakes were cold-blooded animals. He looked down. A scale on the man's lower abdomen was raised. 2 large members protruded from beneath it. He had accidentally grabbed one of them. He let go in embarrassment. He apologized, his mind reeling from the shock. The creature's face suddenly twisted in pain. He curled up on the stone bed. Ethan nervously patted his face. He told him not to die. He asked if he was an endangered species. Dying here would make Ethan a suspect. The man's eyes were hazy. He slapped him again at his request. The creature seemed to enjoy it. His tongue flicked out, tasting Ethan's palm. He whispered that Ethan's slaps aroused him. He became more excited. The gold in his eyes swirled brightly. Ethan quickly pulled his hand back. He accused the snake demon of setting a trap. He declared that he liked Ethan. He did not answer, only whispering Ethan's name. He rubbed against him, leaving him damp. He was cornered with no escape. He suddenly remembered something. He had never told the creature his name. He wondered if he had overheard Liam. The creature urged him to bear his eggs. He kissed him deeply. His massive tail wrapped around Ethan's legs. The black scales scraped against his skin. It sent a shiver through him. Half an hour later, he was covered in cold sweat. He sobbed quietly. He begged, saying they would not all fit. The man told him to call him Silas. His voice was sexier than any voice actor Ethan had ever heard. Silas promised he would get used to them. Ethan clung to his neck, his mind blank. A flash of memory returned to him. He remembered the carving on the tombstone. The snake and the human were mating. After 7 days, Ethan found a way out. He escaped while Silas was out hunting. In the village, he found an exhausted Liam. Liam had reported him missing to the police. They had organized a search with local villagers. No one had been able to find him. Ethan was taken to a hospital. All his tests came back normal. Worried, Liam found a holistic doctor. The doctor took a long time checking his pulse. Liam grew impatient. The doctor reassured him there were no internal injuries. He simply needed some restorative supplements. Liam said money was no object. He asked what the supplements were for. The doctor adjusted his glasses. They were for kidney health. He explained Ethan's body was severely depleted. He warned of future impotence if left untreated. Ethan's face burned. He cursed the insatiable serpent in his mind. Liam left the clinic with the supplements. He looked bewildered and hesitant to speak. Ethan spoke first. He told him not to ask any questions. He threatened to end their friendship. Liam looked wronged. Ethan said his expression had already asked 1,000 times. The marks on his body looked like scratches. But Liam was experienced in worldly matters. He had already guessed the truth. His eyes turned red with indignation. He demanded to know who did this to Ethan. He swore he would find someone to teach them a lesson. He would make sure they rot in jail. Ethan stopped him. He said the person was not to be trifled with. Messing with him would land them in prison instead. Liam imagined a powerful, abusive man. He asked if he was truly that formidable. Ethan replied that he was protected by the government. As he boarded the plane, Ethan swore never to return. Silas, goodbye forever. After returning from the clinic, Ethan slept. He dreamt again of the damp, cold cave. After they were finished, Silas would happily wag his tail. He would stroke Ethan's abdomen. His eyes would be full of fervent hope. He would whisper about the clutch of snake eggs there. Ethan woke with a start. He told himself it was just a nightmare. But his stomach was undeniably growing day by day. He suspected he really was carrying eggs. That's why he went to the city's top clinic. He had just finished a low-fat meal when Liam visited. He told Ethan he was trending online. Someone had photographed him at the women's clinic. Rumors were spreading that his secret girlfriend was pregnant. His female fans were leaving in droves. He was surprised he even had female fans. With his androgynous looks, his followers often called him wifey. He wondered if they didn't know his sexual orientation. He posted on his social media that he liked men. Then he ignored the ensuing drama. Liam asked what the doctor had said. Ethan recalled the doctor's words. Men don't get pregnant. It was a false pregnancy. His boyfriend should be less experimental. That black snake was not experimental at all. He just used both when he was in a hurry. Liam looked at Ethan's waist. He told him to stop being paranoid. He was probably just getting fat. Liam said he would take him somewhere. He could lose 7 pounds in a day there. Half an hour later, Ethan stood in a famous local club. Liam explained the DJ was excellent. Dancing here could make you lose weight fast. Since he was already there, he decided to stay. The pulsating music filled his mind. Felt like a return to the real world. He had a drink for the first time in a while. He let himself move with the crowd. Liam shouted that Ethan deserved the most handsome man. He urged him to enjoy himself. He then pushed a handsome man towards Ethan. The man wore gold-rimmed glasses. He had a sophisticated yet dangerous vibe. The man smiled at Ethan, showing his bemusement. The alcohol was making Ethan nauseous. He just smiled back. Suddenly, someone bumped him from behind. He lost his balance and fell into the man's arms. When he looked up, he felt an intense gaze. Amidst the colorful lights, Silas's face was a stunning sight. He mouthed something. Ethan couldn't hear, but he read his lips. "Ethan, we have eggs." A sharp pang shot through his lower abdomen. He felt eyes on his back. He turned and pushed through the crowd. He grabbed Liam and started to leave. Liam was confused. He asked why they were leaving so soon. He thought the guy was not handsome enough. They ran straight into a solid wall. With his snake tail, Silas was several meters long. Now on 2 legs, he was at least 6 feet 3 inches. Ethan and Liam together couldn't beat him. Liam nudged Ethan's arm. He whispered that this one was truly handsome. He told Ethan to go for it. Ethan thought it was too late. He had already been had. Silas stared at him. His gaze was like a hot flame licking his skin. His eyes were dark and deep. They were filled with unspoken words. Liam finally sensed the strange atmosphere. He asked why the man looked like he caught his wife cheating. He asked if they knew each other. Ethan wondered if being biblically familiar counted. Silas lowered his eyes. He said softly that he had no official status. Ethan could play however he wanted. As long as he came home at night, the colored lights illuminated his handsome features. He had a face made for romance, but his mouth was turned down in a hurt, innocent expression. Liam was speechless. He assumed this was some love debt Ethan owed. It was a silent accusation. This snake had been alone for so long. Ethan wondered where he learned such manipulative tricks. In the alley behind the club, Ethan faced a human-looking Silas. He asked how he could become fully human. Silas said he always could. Ethan lit a cigarette, feeling his teeth ache. The more he thought, the more furious he became. He slapped him across the face. He asked if it was fun toying with him. He yelled about his human form. Why did he use his tail in the cave? That huge, black tail. The cold scales against his skin. It had filled him with a shameful excitement. He felt like he was in a depraved, bestial relationship. Silas was fair-skinned. A red handprint quickly appeared on his face. He said snake eggs were healthier that way. He took Ethan's hand and blew on it. Then he kissed it gently. He told Ethan not to be angry. It was bad for the eggs. Snake eggs, snake eggs. He was obsessed with them. Ethan laughed in anger. He slapped him again. He told him to get lost. A light rain began to fall. Silas followed him like an abandoned pet snake. At a corner, Ethan peeked back. He saw Silas's shoes were torn. His pants were too short. His expensive-looking face made him look barely presentable. Ethan wondered how he had traveled so far to find him. A knot of anger tightened in his chest. He hailed a taxi, leaving him behind. He repeated 100 times. Pitying a man is the start of misfortune. When he got home, photos from the club were trending. He never knew he was so famous. Online comments were all from trolls. They condemned him for clubbing while his girlfriend was pregnant. He wondered who got a girlfriend pregnant. Him? He touched his slightly bulging stomach. It was a ridiculous situation. Liam told him a rival influencer, Big D, was behind it. Big D was known for flaunting wealth. He posed with luxury cars and models. It only made him look like a fat pig. Literally, he truly resembled a pig. At an event, Ethan stopped him from harassing his female assistant. Big D had held a grudge ever since. He dared to cause trouble now. Ethan retaliated. He exposed Big D's trips to red light districts. He revealed he rented fake luxury goods to seem rich. Then Ethan started a live stream to end the drama. He had just turned on the camera. He spoke for only a few minutes. A comment appeared in the chat. Someone wrote that there was a huge snake. It was in the tree behind his window. It was real. How could there be such a big snake in the city? He looked back. A snake over 10 meters long was coiled on a nearby tree. It was staring straight at him. The tree bent under its immense weight. He quickly ended the stream and went to find Silas. By then, Silas was half man, half snake again. He radiated excitement. His tail wagged like a dog greeting its owner. He assured Ethan he would deal with anyone who bullied him. He must have overheard his call with Liam. Ethan crossed his arms and asked how. Silas said he would swallow him whole. He showed his fangs with an eager expression. Ethan called him a foolish snake. This was a society of laws. He couldn't just eat people even if he was protected. Disappointment flashed in Silas's eyes. He had seriously considered it. Silas gently took his little finger. He rested his head on Ethan's shoulder. He nuzzled him with deep affection. He said he was useless. He asked for a chance. He promised to take care of Ethan and the children. Ethan felt a wave of pity. He let him come home with him. But pity was one thing. He would never give birth to snake eggs. Silas became his personal butler. Liam opened the door. He found a shirtless Silas frying eggs in the kitchen. They stared at each other. Liam exclaimed that Ethan had hit the jackpot. He had a stunningly handsome man doing his laundry. No, frying him eggs with a cold expression. Liam's mother was in the modeling business. He was very interested in Silas's face. Standing across the kitchen island was not enough. He had to get a closer look. Ethan tried to stop him, but it was too late. With a scream, Liam jumped into the air. Ethan had never seen him jump so high. "Snake!" he shrieked. "Ethan, there's a huge snake tail." He started chanting nonsensically, trying to perform an exorcism. Silas listened for a moment. He commented that Ethan's friend was quite loud. Ethan grabbed the frantic Liam. He dragged him into the study. Liam was still in shock. He gestured wildly. He said no matter how desperate Ethan was, he shouldn't bring a snake home. Ethan covered his mouth to stop his rambling. He explained the whole story. Liam listened, stunned. Finally, he burst into tears. He cried that it was all his fault. If he hadn't insisted on filming, this wouldn't have happened. Ethan held out his hand. He said he never blamed him. He asked if Liam had brought the thing he asked for. Liam reluctantly pulled out the abortion pills. He had thought Ethan had developed a weird fetish. He thought he was going to harm pregnant animals. He glanced at Ethan's slightly bigger waist. He suggested going to a hospital. A doctor should handle it. Ethan worried he would become a monster. He feared being locked up for research. He had asked a doctor online. If a human carried snake eggs, what should he take? The doctor said he needed antipsychotics more. A day later, Liam brought him human abortion pills. Silas was in the kitchen making chicken soup. He was very attentive to the snake eggs. Ethan watched him, then swallowed the pills. Silas smiled at him. He said dinner was almost ready. He told Ethan to eat less sugar. Ethan agreed. Silas knew his tastes perfectly. Every dish he made was a favorite. Eating with him felt strangely natural. Felt like this was how things should be. After taking the medicine, nothing happened. His stomach was still hard. He started to worry if the pills worked. That night, Silas came out of the shower. His hair was wet. His dark eyes seemed misty. Water trickled down his abs. Ethan cursed the seductive demon in his heart. His ears burned. Silas placed a hand on his lower abdomen. He rubbed it gently. The steam from his body enveloped Ethan. His scent was unique and pleasant. It was a mix of grass and wood. Clouded Ethan's mind. Silas leaned in, his nose brushing Ethan's. Ethan watched as his towel formed an impossible bulge. Silas's voice was hoarse. He asked if tonight was okay. They had been sleeping in separate rooms. He was protective of the eggs. He never initiated anything. He had heard snakes were lustful by nature. Was he unable to resist tonight? Ethan took a deep breath. He suppressed the heat rising in him. He pushed him away. He said he had a live stream to do. He locked himself in the study. He closed his eyes. His mind filled with images of the dark cave, of their sweaty, tangled bodies. First, it had been painful, but he quickly found pleasure in it. Silas was more satisfying than any toy he had used. He opened a cabinet. He pulled out some long-unused items. He felt a wave of listlessness. They lacked Silas's warmth. They couldn't give him unexpected surprises, especially without Silas's loving gaze. He found it hard to reach release. He frowned in frustration. He grabbed a wipe and cleaned his hands. He felt empty. He started his stream with low energy. His luck was bad that night. He was randomly paired with Big D. They were both surprised. Big D mockingly praised his PR skills. Then his own live stream was flooded with Big D's fans. They spammed that the truth would come out. They called for the wronged girl to speak up. Ethan's fans fought back. They said Ethan liked men. He was impotent with women. How could he get someone pregnant? They said he looked more likely to get pregnant himself. Ethan felt that was not a compliment. Suddenly, Silas opened the door. He was holding a plate of fruit. Ethan beckoned to him. When he got closer, Ethan grabbed his pajama collar. He gave him a light peck. The chat exploded. His fans only knew he liked men. They had never seen him with a boyfriend. He was satisfied with their reaction. Silas was stunned for a moment. Then he held the back of Ethan's head. His tongue plunged into his mouth. He stole all of Ethan's breath. Only Silas could give him this suffocating passion. A moment later, his stream was shut down. Silas's thumb wiped a trace of moisture from his lips. He pointed to the toys in the corner. His voice was full of grievance. "Am I not better than that?" Ethan bit his chest. He tried to fool the naive snake. He said quantity did not equal quality. It was electric. Could go all night without resting. Silas knelt down, his hands on Ethan's belt. Ethan looked down at him. Silas licked his sharp teeth. He smirked. He said tonight they would play his favorite game. He reached a peak balanced between pain and pleasure. It was the first time he knew he liked this kind of thing. It was terrifying. Silas saw right through him. He saw the hidden kinks in his soul. To his surprise, Silas became an internet sensation. A few seconds on a live stream made him famous. In this era, beauty was a rare commodity. Companies started contacting Ethan. Even Liam's mother wanted to sign Silas. She wanted him for her next fashion show's opening. She said his looks and aura would make her company a hit. Liam was tearing his hair out. If Silas turned into a snake on the runway, he would certainly make headlines. Ethan defended him. He said Silas was not some low-level snake who couldn't control himself. Seeing Ethan on his side, Liam became more distraught. He said Ethan was completely bewitched by him. The whole world was bewitched. Silas, who was washing dishes, suddenly asked a question. He asked if being a model paid well. Ethan said with his looks it certainly would. Silas told Liam he wanted to do it. He could stay human the whole time. He said he wanted to earn money for his family. He begged Liam. Liam sighed and agreed. Silas requested daily payment. He gave every penny he earned to Ethan. One weekend, Ethan ate watermelon cut by Silas. He lay on his 8-pack abs. He asked casually if Silas chose his own name. Silas shook his head. Someone had given it to him. Ethan said oh and was about to ask more. Silas held his face and kissed him. Ethan's gaze grew hazy. He lightly bit his throat. His legs hooked around his waist. They went to the bed. After they finished, he asked Silas to become half man, half snake. He hugged the cool snake tail to ward off the heat. Silas was a man of few words, but he was doting. He fulfilled almost any request, created an illusion. He felt he could spend his life with him. Until one night, he woke up to use the bathroom. He heard Silas talking in his sleep. He was calling a name, Julian. Silas's tone was gentle and full of affection. Ethan felt like a bucket of cold water had been thrown on him. He felt wretched. This was Silas's former lover's name. His mind was in chaos. He walked into the study, his face pale. He searched the name online. There was a scholar from the 19th century named Julian. Ethan had a gut feeling. This was the person Silas was dreaming of. Silas had guarded that desolate tomb for centuries. Countless tourists had passed through, but he had only captured Ethan to bear his eggs. It wasn't love at first sight. He was looking for the closest substitute. The next day, Ethan told Silas he had a business trip. In reality, he hid at Liam's place. He couldn't face him. Liam was groggy when he opened the door. He yawned. He asked why they were fighting. Just days ago, they were inseparable. Liam worried the snake would flood the city like a myth. Ethan scoffed. He was the one being abandoned. The more he thought, the sadder he felt. He could accept Silas having past partners, but he couldn't accept him calling his ex's name in his sleep. It made him feel like a bitter, insecure husband. And for what? Silas wasn't that special. He just had an extra one. He buried his head in his pillow and slept. In the middle of his sleep, he got a call. It was the police. They had received a complaint. They needed to question him and Liam. They had entered the tomb without a permit. He rushed to the next room and punched Liam. He demanded to know why Liam said it was legal. Liam slammed his fist against the wall in anger. He was sure a rival had reported them. It had to be Big D. The police asked if anyone else knew. This was a serious matter now. Could go either way. There was one other who knew. A snake. Fearing trouble for Liam, Ethan had an idea. He told the police he knew a descendant of the tomb's owner. If it was their ancestor's tomb, visiting was legal. Silas arrived, looking exhausted. He seemed not to have slept all night. Ethan winked at him frantically. He hoped Silas would understand his hint. But they had no such rapport. Silas stated bluntly that it was not his ancestor's tomb. Liam slapped his forehead, moaning that they were doomed. Silas paused, a trace of sorrow in his eyes. He said he was just the guardian. Pang went through Ethan's heart. The air felt heavy and oppressive. He wondered what it was like for Silas, guarding Julian's tomb for 1,000 years. The officers looked at each other. They said they didn't disbelieve him, but he needed proof he was the guardian. Silas glanced at Ethan. Ethan glared back defiantly. Silas seemed to make a decision. He told the police the tomb had a coffin and artifacts. They just hadn't been discovered yet. Only he knew where they were. A few days later, a local museum followed Silas's directions. They found a suspended coffin deep within the cave. News reports confirmed the occupant was Julian. The coffin was miraculously preserved for centuries. Its surface was covered with thousands of snake carvings. The public marveled at the archaeological wonder. But Ethan knew it was not a miracle. It was a vigil lasting 1,000 years. He laughed at himself. The dead are always perfect. They are forever unbeatable. Silas had given him an unsolvable puzzle. That night, after eating Silas's cooking, he calmly proposed a breakup. Silas was silent for a long moment. His lips were tight and pale. He said weakly it was not what Ethan thought. He could explain. Ethan looked into his eyes, his heart a mess. He said he didn't need an explanation. He would ask and Silas would answer. Julian gave you your name? Silas nodded. You were lovers? Silas nodded again. The truth was out. There was nothing more to ask. It was strange. Silas was a snake and he was human. But right now, Silas was calmer, more rational. Ethan wondered if he learned that from Julian too. His eyes stung. He tried to look indifferent. He said he didn't want to hear his explanation anymore. He didn't want him anymore. The composure on Silas's face finally cracked. His voice choked with emotion. Tears wet Ethan's shoulder. He held his waist tightly. Are you going to abandon me again? He asked. Ethan was stunned. He tried to pry his hands off. He asked if he and Julian were that alike. So alike that Silas couldn't tell them apart. Silas's golden eyes were like an abyss. They were filled with the vastness of time. You are him. He is you. Silas told him a story. 1,000 years ago, he was a newly sentient snake spirit. He lived in a mountain temple, seeking enlightenment. Then he met his destiny. Julian came to the mountains for a retreat. He stayed at the temple. He was captivated by Silas at first sight. He fell completely in love. He refused to leave, pestering Silas daily. At first, Silas was unmoved, but Julian was clever. He realized Silas was not cold, but simply innocent. Julian loved to read stories. He devised a way to attract him. Every night, while Silas mated by an oil lamp, Julian would tell him stories. He spoke of the colorful world, of the complex love and hate between people. Silas gradually became intrigued. He yearned for the mortal world. He finally agreed to leave the mountain with Julian. As they spent their days together, Silas's attitude changed. Julian grew bolder. He coaxed Silas into breaking his vow of celibacy. Once, Silas accidentally drank realgar wine. He lost control and reverted to his snake form. His secret was exposed. He feared Julian would call him a demon and leave. He hid in the woodshed, but Julian was not afraid. He was fascinated. He brought a scale to weigh him. He exclaimed that hundreds of pounds was too heavy. He said it would crush him. Julian told him he needed to lose weight. He named him Silas. He said he could only hold 10 pounds. Later, Julian died young from an illness. Silas searched for a way to bring him back. The temple monks thought he was mad with grief. Only Silas knew the truth. He still didn't understand love. He just felt a part of him had collapsed. So you carved all the snakes on his coffin? Silas said every time he felt Julian was lonely, he carved a snake. Ethan was shaken. The dead are not lonely. The living are. The moment Silas saw Ethan, he knew. He was Julian's reincarnation. His looks, his hobbies, even the mole on his leg. They were all identical. Ethan interrupted his story, his mind in turmoil. Even if he was a reincarnation, they were two separate people. Silas touched the space between his eyebrows. No, you are one and the same. Ethan fainted and had a dream. In the dream, he became Julian. They lived in a secluded house in the countryside. He was a teacher. Silas hunted to support them. One day, Silas found a mother snake incubating eggs. The snake was injured and dying. He brought the eggs home. Julian got a hen to incubate them. Silas asked curiously if Julian would also lay eggs. Julian, being mischievous, teased him. He said of course he could. It was Silas's fault he wasn't pregnant yet. Silas took it seriously. He was relentless with him every day. Julian treated it as a private joke. He even wrote a book. He told Silas how to care for him if he got pregnant. He was so bad, teasing Silas constantly. He ate an herb that made his stomach hard. He pretended to be carrying snake eggs. He made Silas cook for him. He made him work harder in bed. His body was failing day by day. He regretted not being able to truly carry eggs for Silas. After 100 years, Silas might forget him. That would be for the best. Silas didn't know loneliness yet. Without loneliness, there was no suffering from longing. He opened his eyes. It felt like he had dreamed for 1,000 years. Silas kissed the corner of his mouth. Do you believe you are the same person now? Ethan still couldn't accept he was Julian. He asked if there were any differences, even with his new memories. Silas thought for a moment. Not really. Both of you cried no at first, but later you both took both of them. Ethan's face flushed. He straddled Silas. Silas disliked clothes. He often wore only pants at home. Ethan pulled them down. He braced his hands on his abs. I am not him. Julian had a self-destructive streak due to his poor health. That's why he preferred extreme play. He enjoyed the thrill even to the point of suffocation. But Ethan only wanted pleasure he could control. Silas tried to sit up and kiss him. Ethan pushed him back down. Don't move. I'm punishing you. He bit Silas's neck, leaving marks all over him. He thought Silas wouldn't be able to take it. but his own back was about to break. Silas only frowned slightly. He even steadied Ethan's waist. He warned him the eggs were coming soon. They shouldn't be too rough. The incubation period for snake eggs is 39 to 50 days. As time passed, Silas grew anxious. He couldn't sleep. Ethan didn't know how to tell him the truth. He had to admit he and Julian were similar. They were both good at lying to him. Liam told him Silas was knitting little nests for the eggs. As his belly flattened, his guilt grew. A 1,000-year-old lie had Silas completely fooled. Liam asked if he really couldn't give him eggs. Ethan roared that of course he couldn't. Even if he could, he had taken pills. Just then, he saw Silas coming home from work. "Ethan, is it true?" he asked. Ethan explained awkwardly that he was never pregnant. It was a false pregnancy from the herb. He offered to get pregnant again. It just meant eating some grass. "You've been lying to me all this time?" Silas's face was white with anger. He threw the knitted nests on the floor. He stormed out of the house. It was over. Ethan immediately ran out to chase him. He couldn't catch up. In the middle of the night, it started pouring rain. He couldn't sleep. He smoked on the balcony, worried. He saw the tree across the street swaying violently. It was swaying more than the others. A large, coiled black mass was on it. He met its eyes. Silas turned his back, angry. The tree was losing leaves, almost bald from his weight. Ethan was afraid he would be struck by lightning. He coaxed him back inside. Silas began giving him the silent treatment. He would only sleep with him once a night. At midnight, he would stand by the bed, staring. He would satisfy himself. "Need help?" Ethan asked. Silas refused, continuing without a change in expression. Ethan smelled the scent in the air. He heard his deep voice. He secretly squeezed his legs together under the covers. Then he bought an egg online. He pretended he had laid it. When Silas saw the egg, he was silent for a long time. Ethan worried he had seen through his lie. Luckily, he only asked a question. "Do humans only lay one egg at a time?" Ethan retorted that Silas had only seen snakes lay eggs. How would he know about humans? There was no one else in the world laying snake eggs. Silas seemed convinced. He began incubating the egg with great care. He even took it with him to work. He wanted the egg to feel a father's love. His good looks made him a star in the modeling world. Someone photographed him knitting clothes for the egg. The photos went viral. It started a bizarre trend. Ethan's mouth twitched. The fashion world's absurdity was unmatched. As the hatching day approached, he confirmed with the seller. "You sent me a black snake egg, right?" The seller guaranteed it. If not, 10 times the money back. He was finally relieved. On hatching day, he and Silas waited anxiously for 2 hours. With a crack, the eggshell broke. A small, shiny black snake emerged. It had half an eggshell on its head. It was so cute. He was thrilled to witness a new life. But when he turned, Silas's face was dark. He nudged his arm. "Our son is born. Why aren't you happy? Are you sure this is my son?" Silas shifted to his true form. He flickered his tongue at Ethan. The fork tip almost entered his ear. Tickled. "I have dragon blood in me. How could I have a dumb-looking hognose snake?" He did have small, raised horns on his head. Ethan hadn't noticed them before. He wasn't just a protected animal. He was a mythical creature. Ethan laughed nervously. Maybe it's a genetic mutation. His waist was caught by the snake tail. Silas dragged him towards the bedroom. "Ethan, liars must be punished." He struggled, but it was useless. He argued it wasn't his fault. Julian had lied first. He couldn't give birth, and neither could Ethan. Silas was rougher than ever, and he purposely stayed in his true form. He could only bite his dragon horn. Late into the night, he was crying and hiccuping. He pounded Silas's chest. "You don't like me if I can't lay eggs?" Silas added another one. He licked away his tears. "I like you." That day, he learned something new. Snakes had more than two, and they had barbs.